You were created to stand out, to be exceptional, to be unique by design. So welcome to Exceptional Living. Well, welcome to Exceptional Living. As you know, our purpose is always to inform, inspire, and to ignite the greatness that lies in you. And we do that by listening to experts, and thought leaders, creatives who have, through their experience and achievement, had great successes, not only in their personal lives, but also in their industry and work fields. And today, our very special guest is no exception. I'm here in beautiful Nassau, Bahamas, with Dr. Richard C. Demeritte. Dr. Richard C. Demeritte is a chartered accountant by profession, was appointed Auditor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in February of 1980. In 1984, he was appointed High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, and later on as the Bahamas' first, and I repeat, first, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plentipotentiary to the Kingdom of Belgium, the Federal Republic of Germany, the Republic of France, and the European Economic Community. As a diplomat, his leadership skills, social grace, tact, and international contacts were notable and created a unique opportunity for him in his professional life. Simultaneously, his foreign service experience made him an excellent role model in the diplomatic circle. While in Great Britain, in addition to his ambassadorial appointments, he was invited to serve on the Council of the Association of International Accountants, UK. This was a unique accomplishment as his professional studies and certification was undertaken under the AIA. He was elected and served as the first, non-British president of the association on November 1st. In 1985 for a 3-year term. He simultaneously served as chairman of the council during this period and continued to sit as a member of the council of the AIA from 1984 to 2014. He returned to the Bahamas in 1988 to resume the position of Auditor General and retired from public service in July of 1996 and established his own accounting firm, MGI, Richard C. Demeritte and Company, Chartered Accountants and Management Consultants. He served on several boards, including the Bank of the Bahamas, Princess Margaret Hospital, the International Third World Leaders Association, and many others. He is married to the lovely Ruth Demeritte, is the proud father of 2 daughters, Indira and Tina, and the late Richard Jr. Exceptional Living, please welcome Dr. Richard C. Demeritte. Welcome. It's been a long time coming.
Right.
We're here, so I'm so excited. Thank you for the honor and the privilege of sharing your time with this audience, but I certainly believe that what you'll share with us today will be transformative in personal and professional life. So your biography is extensive, Dr. Demeritte, from bodybuilding to accountancy to diplomacy. What was the story and how did this all start?
As a young man, I was pretty clear about what my future ought to be like, and the things that I thought I wanted to do. So I got there. And it actually started out with bodybuilding. Because when bodybuilding was straight into bodybuilding, gave you a muscular man look. And of course, it attracted a lot of pretty girls. And then I also wanted to get involved with the youth, young people. So I joined the St. Matthew's Church Lights Brigade, and we had 300 young people, men and women, boys and girls, who came there for teaching. And that grew to a very useful organization where we began to produce young leaders. That got stuck in my head, and I stayed with that for many years. But then I got to the age where I needed to select a profession. So I got involved and I started doing bookkeeping. I was quite successful to the extent that I hooked up with the Association of International Accountants in London. Find out where do I go from here with an effort to get to the top. They got in contact, started the examinations, was successful, and then later on in life, on 14th July 1956, when I left school, I was offered a job in the Treasury. Worked in the Treasury for a number of years. The government, after the government won the election in 1967, I was chosen to go to Grand Bahama to set up the branch. The first.
Another first.
Yes, that was exciting. And while in Grand Bahama, I got involved in the society and tried to find how best I can help in that community as I did. Got involved with YMCA. We took membership in that. Got involved with Toastmasters. I established the Toastmasters. Got involved with the Masonic Lodge. We started that in Freeport. And then, of course, we did a similar thing in the White House. So I had the opportunity to chair one of those organizations. That gave me an opportunity to come closer to the Caribbean. And I had another site, the Caribbean, YMCA, and several other things. And then I got caught up with the Southeast region of YMCAs of the United States of America. And I was appointed to the board of the Southeast region. And they opened the door and exposed me to everything that YMCA had to offer. It's the first time I met Andrea, who was a very handsome, talented young man. He was very unique. I went to one of the conferences where he was the keynote speaker in Blue Mountains.
Oh, yeah, Blue Ridge Mountains.
Blue Ridge
Wow.
My wife and I went. It was cold on the side of the road. And he came in a bit late. The program had just started. And there was a seat next to myself. He came in the chat. We looked at each other, we nodded, paid respect to each other. But a few minutes later, he was introduced as the keynote speaker. And Ambassador Andrea spoke about 35 minutes. Ex-temple radius. I was so impressed. He became one of my mentors immediately.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that's when I got back. I put a lot of time into Toastmasters. I became very close to YMCA in Atlanta. During this time was the mayor. He bestowed the keys of the city on Ruth and myself.
Ah, the keys to the city. And now there's a YMCA named in his honor. He was brother, Dr. Walter Young as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and he became a mentor of mine on the spot. And like I said, he, during his time as the mayor, he bestowed the honor of the keys of the city to myself and my son. It was a great moment for me. I had the chance also as a result of that to speak at Ebenezer.
Ah. Okay.
At Ebenezer, they honored me there on an occasion, and I became very close to New Orleans and Atlanta. So I got a lot of friends in that area, and my life in YMCA widened as a result of that. I found myself doing a lot of traveling, meeting a lot of people. I was set to come back home and ready to make a real show.
So you talk about your volunteering with the YMCA and certainly in all the things that you work with Toastmasters and the like. You learn some things, some principles about not just work, but also personal development. How important do you think volunteerism is? And what did you learn from your principles?
Volunteerism is a very important thing that everybody should get involved in, because when you're volunteering, you're helping somebody else. And I found that was an easy way of making good and sound acquaintances, because it doesn't look like you want to be. And that kind of further guided me into my role as a mentor in many areas, whether it was the social, whether it was the economic, whether it was in sports. It really supported me as an individual to be able to meet and greet and guide people through the process. So I underline that as a must for young people who want to do something.
That's a must. So you talk about mentors, and I know you said before that you have mentors that are older than you, different ages, younger than you.
Mentorship is perhaps one of the finest things you can do, because again, what you are essentially doing is helping people to do things the right way. But more importantly, you're giving them the desire to want to do things better. And any doubts that they have in their mind, if they have confidence in you as a mentor, they'll be so guided. So I recommend that strongly. That is the one thing that I spend most of my life doing, because I believe I have a lot to share.
We believe you have a lot to share. So that's why this conversation
Yeah.
is so important. Speaking of mentors, as you know, Dr. Miles Monroe was my mentor. And I remember the first time I heard you share at his Global Leadership Forum in Itoya.
Yes.
And the panel was about globalization and geopolitics and navigating through. This is 2013. So the World Wide Web was full on, and a lot of things were, digitalization. Not quite in the AI yet, but the fourth industrial revolution is certainly,
Yes.
moving forward. And after I heard you speak, and you shared about your book, The Consummate Diplomat, I said to myself, much like your story you shared with Ambassador, wait a minute, I've got to get this book. And it was at the end of the conference, we're in the hallway in Freeport, Grand Bahama. And I said, Dr. Monroe, I enjoyed because you were walking with him. And I have to get the book. And he says, he introduced you as my friend. And I said, how do you get the book? I asked you, it's a pleasure and all the things. And he said, you can go online. And I said, oh, but I wanted you to sign it. And he said, well, I don't have copies with me here. And I said, well, I will bring it back.
That's right.
Next year. And I did.
You did. You did.
I had it in my carry-on because I said, I'm going to get the signature to this book. But I also knew that if I could get the signature, I'd get the opportunity to speak more. And there certainly were very few people that he personally introduced me to. But I am eternally grateful that he introduced you to me. And you have certainly been a mentor in the diplomatic space, but also in personal development. And again, just the thought processes and things that you've learned growing up that were instilled to you by your father that you share. Share with this audience some of those things and how they could also be beneficial to them as well.
Yes, well, there are certain rules that you need to adopt if if you plan to be successful, and not only be successful, but to remain successful, the first one will be discipline.
Discipline.
Discipline is a key word. In any endeavor you get involved with, no matter what it is, whether it's school, it's church, whether it's friends, that discipline plays the part. Because if you're disciplined well, and you've got a friend who's not as disciplined, they will eventually become disciplined. Because of your discipline, you're going to maintain it. So you literally force them to discipline themselves to be a part of you.
Wow. So how we live our lives can have an impact on others who
Exactly.
watch us.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right, yeah. Okay. So your dad taught you about discipline and some other things that you share.
My dad was like a philosopher. He said a few words. Always sober. Knew exactly what he was saying. And he said to me, in life you're going to come across hardships, you're going to come across people, you're going to come across conversations and all of that. But only one thing you have to remember. If you have to answer a question or do anything, just do it right. That's taken me on. Just do what's right.
Always do what's right.
That's right.
Always do what's right. Well, speaking of that, we think you made a right choice. Not just professionally, but personally.
Yes.
You eyed a young woman,
Yes.
Mrs. Demeritte now as we know her.
Yes.
How did you know that she was the one?
When I was growing up, I was very popular because of my being involved in swimming and sports and bodybuilding and all that sort of thing. And I saw her one day with her sisters going home from church. And I spotted her. Spotted her face. She paid no attention. No attention. But I made sure I watched the road that she used to walk to go to church and back.
You had a plan.
I had a plan. And one day I got close enough to say hello. And she smiled and she said hello. She went about her business. And I tried that same exercise on a couple more occasions. And then one day she said, "You look like you like me." And she caused me to put on my brakes. I said, "I do." She said, "Well, can I tell you something?" I said, "What?" She said, "I would never marry a man who is unequally yoked." She shocked me. I didn't know what she was talking about. And I saw the discipline in her that I was being taught in my own home. So every time I meet her, I'd smile and say hello, blah, 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 until one day I got the courage to tell her that it's time for us to chat. We're all getting a little older. I would like to have a family. And we talked about it, and that was it. I rented a house and met her father, because my father always said, if you meet a girl, go and meet the parents before you try to see her. I read a letter. I wrote my letter. Told them I want to come and sit down and have a conversation. And the day I went there, her mother came to the door. And she looked out. She said, "Good evening. Who may you be?" That exact said, "Who may you be?" I said, "Richard Demeritte." She said, "Oh, you are Richard Demeritte." So I hear a lot of talk about Richard Demeritte around the house.
Well.
She said, "Well, how can I help?" I said, "I'm here to see Mr. Smith." And I could have seen him. He was sitting over there to the table eating. She said, "He's having a supper right now. Come and have a seat." She invited me. I sat down. And all of a sudden, he stopped eating. He had to sit down with him. In those days, I used to have a pipe. I smoked a pipe. He got up to go to the bathroom to wash his hands, to come out to talk to me. But when he came out with a pipe also.
Oh.
He was sending me a message. I was much mad at you.
Wow. Well, in thinking of that, and you've spoken also too about standards, having
Always.
personal standards for your life. And certainly Mrs. Demeritte had a personal standard
Oh,
that
she
she
had.
will not be in a relationship with somebody
That's right.
who's not
Equally-
equally yoked.
That's right.
In your profession, certainly in accountancy, right? There are certain standards
Oh, yes.
for the profession.
It's all standards.
It's all standards. It's all standards. What was that journey like from accountancy to diplomacy? And I know there's some men that were examples for you as well.
Yeah, once I started doing my bookkeeping, I wanted to go as far as I possibly can locally, and then find a route that I can do it internationally. I traveled abroad and made contact with the Association of International Accountants in London. We communicated, they took me in as a student. I started doing examinations and I was successful. And came back home and worked in the Treasury. And when the government changed in 1967, I was invited by the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, to take on the responsibility of forming a branch of the Treasury in Bahamas, the first of its kind.
Another first.
It was a challenge, never did it before, but I had confidence in myself, and they had confidence in me. So I took on the responsibility. I just got married. My son was 6 weeks old. I asked him how much time I get to plan to go. He said as quick as you can. So we moved to Grand Bahama, and we lived in the hotel for several weeks because we did not yet secure accommodation. And I can remember today my son, as if they'd be sitting in a hotel every day, put me in the thoughts. You know? But I made up my mind that I was going to. I got involved in everything at one. Started out with YMCA, sailed to the top, and I served in YMCA for 16 years. I had a chance to communicate and join up with the Caribbean YMCA in the Caribbean, and of course with Atlanta, where the Southeast region controlled that section of the state. They invited me to go, and I served there, and I got a lot of exposure. I met a lot of fine people, That's how I met Andy, right? That was my second attempt at Andy, so it was a pleasure being able to be with him, watch him develop, see what he was doing, and then when I found out who he was the first black legislative person, and also the first black UN ambassador.
That's right.
So I knew then that I had hit gold.
You did the pot of gold.
Pot of gold.
The pot of gold. So having confidence in yourself, as well as determination, having standards for your person, operating with integrity, and certainly being true to your values and your core beliefs, led into your family, because you're certainly a family man. Definitely, and you have been pointed and intentional in how you raise your children, and now you have grandchildren. And why is that important to you? Why has family been so important to you?
It's important to me because it's a responsibility. God in His wisdom determined that He would make man. It was Adam. And then He decided that Adam was a man who was lonely. So He took one out of ribs and He created Eve. He knew exactly what He wanted. That was for man to understand that is the way you should go. And of course, children would come out of it. So it was a great responsibility. So when Ricky came on, the strange about kids, they come on and they look just like you. And if you don't train them properly, they wouldn't behave like you. And the worst thing can happen is you have a child that look like you, but don't behave like
you. Well, you've often said that children may not do what you say, but they will do what you do.
That's right.
They'll do what you do. So when I look at your grandchildren, I think that shows you that you did well because your children followed what
Exactly.
you and Mrs. Demeritte instilled in them
That's right.
and values, and they're all successful
All of them.
attorneys, accountants, the top firms, and
Yes.
being the
Yes.
first in their own right.
That's
of
correct.
their professions.
That's correct.
It doesn't make you proud.
We're proud parents.
Proud parents, ain't
Proud
grandparents?
parents,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Diplomacy is an art and science.
Well, when I was in Grand Bahama as Auditor General, the thought came back to me that I always wanted to be a diplomat, but I couldn't sue the government. But I thought the time was coming for me to be a part of the diplomatic corps. And they brought me in not as the ambassador on that stage, but as Auditor General of the Bahamas, which is the top financial post within the country. And I stayed there from 1980 to 1984. My urge for diplomacy kept getting even stronger. Then I decided to put the question to the leaders that I really want to be in diplomacy at some point in my life. And they all agreed, but said that they didn't see the possibility because I was unique in the job that I was in. And Paul Anthony was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. A friend, I spoke with him. He said, "You're a good person for the job, but we can't afford to let you go. We need you here." And I rebutted him. I said, "But you didn't listen to the question." And he asked me to repeat it, which I did. He said, "You need to go and talk to the Deputy Prime Minister, who is the Minister of Finance." I went to see him. Fortunately, he was also. I told him what I had in my mind, and he kind of laughed it off. And he said, "So you serious?" I said, "Yes, I'm serious." So he said, "What are we going to do about the position when you leave it?" I said, "We'll have to wait that out." So he said, "I wouldn't stand in your way, you know that. I'll go upstairs and see the Prime Minister." I went upstairs and he saw the Prime Minister. And left me sitting in the office 20 minutes.
At that time, the Prime Minister was. Oh, yeah.
He came downstairs, he said, "The Prime Minister said, it's a difficult thing, but he approves it." And he gave me, he addressed me as Your Excellency.
Then you knew you had it.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
Excellency, yes. Speaking of Sir Lyndon, Bahamas is celebrating their 50th anniversary, happy anniversary of independence. What is it like for you to remember that?
It's a great moment. The pride that brought to us as Bahamians, and particularly as Black Bahamians. We know we had an opportunity then to be what you want to be. All the doors are open. It's entirely up to you. I had already had that kind of thinking in my head, so the timing was unique and ready for me. Immediately after that, and of course, like I said, there was a lot of prejudice. We had theaters where blacks couldn't attend. We had beaches where blacks had to go to one side of the beach and whites the other side. And I never let that get to me. I obeyed the rules and kept my mind clear because I realized that I was a full-blown human being with all the gifts and rights from God. And I did not succumb to the wishes of anybody. And I built my reputation on that. Became very friendly with a lot of the whites, friendly with the Chinese and Greeks, everybody. They all became friends. It was an easy struggle for me. Easy struggle. And I enjoyed those relationships up to this day.
And that's part of diplomacy, right? It's part of the art of
yeah.
it. Is people who are not like you,
Oh, yeah.
who don't look like you, don't have the same experiences, but you're able to create, join hands, or at least reach across the aisle
That's good.
to have discussion and dialogue about the things that are common to humanity, and certainly in nation building.
Nation building.
It's about the people.
The people.
It's about the people.
And when I got involved in my social events and organizations and all that, you had people from all walks of life in there. as the leader in that environment, it's much easier for me to communicate with them.
Absolutely. So when you were younger, as you said, your dad told you that you're as valuable as anyone else.
That's right.
Regardless of your skin color, where you grew up,
That's it.
you are as much a person, a human being with rights, dignity, and respect that others should have.
That's what I was taught.
Yeah. So that was foundational.
Foundational.
In you.
Yes.
So you lived your life understanding that.
Correct.
And actually living it out
Living it out.
in your ambassadorial.
And still living it out.
And still living it out. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, in the Bahamas, you mentioned the name of Dr. Richard Demeritte, and there's, oh yes. You know, there's a respect, and that respect is earned because of a word that I know you tell me often. It's credibility.
Credibility, yes.
And it is having the competency, the intellect, the things that you need to have, but it's also having the capacity to learn, to keep learning, maybe unlearn some things, but to grow. But then sealed, or I should say enveloped and protected by character.
Okay.
And that's the integrity.
That's the integrity.
Your name, your morals, your values, your convictions.
That's right.
And that's what brings credibility to you as a person. Because what you do proceeds from who you are. So if you're a bad person, maybe, you know, we were to say the name of Dr. Richard Demeritte, you know, everybody back off like, oh, but we don't have that. So that's a good testament, certainly, to your life and the standards and values that you set for yourself and to your parents and what they instilled into you as well. I'm sure in your career there were setbacks or disappointments, things didn't go the way you hoped. How did you navigate those times? And if you could share with us some things that you used to get over.
It has always been my personal belief that nothing is a failure. A failure to go after it. And then if you got the stickability and don't give up, you will accomplish what you want. I believe that.
Failure is another opportunity.
That's right.
And be like a stamp. Stick with the letter until it gets there.
That's it.
So you have to be determined, dedicated, and dependable. That's a little slogan that's on the news station. It's like, we're determined that we're dependable, but it's not a slogan for you. It's been one of your lifeline.
My lifeline. See, and God really created us. You know, He gave us certain instructions. We need to follow those instructions. Very simply, you'll accomplish what you want. He told you to ask. So if you ask in earnest, you get in earnest.
That's right. Ask in earnest, you get in earnest.
That's it.
And also careful of the words that you speak about yourself.
That's right.
And so early on, you had this vision. You knew you wanted to be. I will be an accountant.
That's it.
I will be a diplomat.
That's it.
And so it's important what we speak, and then the people that we allow to speak into our lives. You've been certainly a treasured mentor since our introduction
Yes.
by Dr. Monroe, and I know you mentor others. And I believe that mentors are meant and meant. MEANT, that you connect. And you see the men you named, like the Governor General, Cash, I think was one, and at the time, the Honorable Honorary, and certainly sort of pending, and all these men that helped to mention you. They were meant, and you felt this connection. And then the MINT, right? To help refine you, because there is a process, and there's a learning process. And you have to be open to that. What was that like for you, learning from these men?
The good thing about it was learning, watching them, because my father not only advised, but kind of instructed me to pay attention to them. Each of the persons I called became personal friends in the long run. They felt very comfortable with me, being much younger, but to be a part of them. So I know in the case of A.D. Hanna, he would come to Freeport all the time. And we'd go on the boat, heavy on in those days, and we'd have a lot of fun fishing. All I had to do, we played golf every weekend. So General Cash, his father operated a business right on the corner next to where I lived. So I saw a lot of him. And he was so dignified, and the way he spoke to people. And I just couldn't get around not being a Bahamian who was polished. I was
Like
lucky.
that, the polish.
Yeah.
Yes, because some people have a lot of education, a lot of skill, but as a person,
In the later
Yeah.
years, when I became very friendly with celebrity women, that kind of knitted the group. We spent so many good times together. And then he and Ruth became very friendly, all the kids, and it brought the families together. And we were then competent around the country.
you have to have some competency. And I've heard you describe Sir Lyndon Finley
Oh, yeah.
as having energy,
Oh, man.
intelligence,
Oh, yeah.
and courage.
Very young.
Courage. Mhm. Very young. So maybe it's that when you're young, you just don't know, and you're like, I'm just gonna do it. So when we get a little bit older, sometimes you're like, be careful of that, right?
I remember a particular occasion when he came to London while I was envoy to Great Britain. And we were doing the heads of government in '85, where that group was responsible for the release of Nelson Mandela. When he came through the diplomatic office, there were hundreds of press people waiting on there, trying to snare out the Bahamas, saying the Bahamas is for sale. So I walked into the diplomatic office. I looked at it and I said, "Yeah, it's pretty rough on it today." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "The place is flooded with news casters." He put his arm around my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, we're in this together." And he went out there, and the way he managed himself as the Prime Minister of that country.
It is in those moments, I think, where a character is honed, that adversity is really the refining point to see what's in you. That, and I think of this commercial where you're taking the tires over this rough terrain, and you think, how would they take the tires over this terrain? They're going to, burst. But the point is to test the integrity of the tire. So adversity does that. So in those moments of what seem like challenge and adversity, it actually helps to draw out what should be inside.
That's right.
If you've done it right.
If you've done it right.
What do you say often? That if you live, if you do it right the first time, live your life right the first time, you don't have to do it over.
No repeats.
Yeah, it doesn't have to repeat. It doesn't have to repeat.
No repeats.
So, what 3 things would you say have guided your life?
Guided my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think the initial thing would be that we were taught the scriptures of my own. That was a must. So we understood considerably what the Bible had to say. And then, of course, after getting married to Ruth, that tripled 1,000 times. Because that's how upbringing.
It's her standard.
She will get up at 6:30 in the mornings, go in the study, she would read her Bible, and then she would come in the room, probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and bring me my breakfast every morning. That's been going on for nearly 60 years.
Wow.
Nearly 60 years. But if she were to die this moment, it doesn't matter to her. She will tell you quite like she knows where she's going. And that has strengthened my kids, it has strengthened me. So we realized that was one of the most important things. Your word is another thing. When you give your word, don't give it if you don't mean it. And wherever you are, in private or in public, you must make sure that people that are looking and listening hear the consistent story. Because it's like kids. If you try to tell a kid to behave, and you're not behaving, they see you as a double standard. So you have to always be on guard to know that somebody is always involved in your life. There are the things that brought us here.
Yeah. Faith,
Right?
keeping your word.
Keeping your word.
Word should be bond.
That's right.
Discipline,
Discipline.
and having a good education
You need that.
as well. You need that as well. So
And to understand diplomacy.
understand diplomacy. Yes, yes. Lots of stories
Yeah.
on that, certainly. But when you share this guided your life, really is not just because you're a diplomat, ambassador, or an accountant, or in your early years as a bodybuilder. But it's who you are as a
It's
person.
who you are
It
as
is
a person.
your person.
That's correct.
And you recognize that early, and these are the things that guided your life,
That's correct.
and certainly have led to the reputation that you have as an individual,
As an individual.
and in your accomplishments and achievements.
Right.
So many to name.
Yes.
We'll be here longer if we get to name all of those. So, as we come to a close, I would ask you, Dr. Demeritte, what would the man that you are today say to the boy that you were?
Repeat that for me slowly.
So, what would the man that you are today say to the boy that you were?
It goes back to a number of the things I mentioned about discipline. Try to follow in the footsteps of a father. When I speak of a father, I speak about a good father who sets example. He will never mislead you, cause you to go wrong. Your word must be your bond. As an individual, you must command, not demand. You must command and respect everybody. Everybody will see you in the same light. Make sure that you stay abreast of what's going on around you. Most important, make sure what you thought was a wife, make her a queen. Make her a queen. Treat her as such, and you get to return on the investment, like you did.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's
right?
it.
Do what's right. Discipline.
That's right.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
Always tell the truth.
Always tell the truth.
Never feel less than another.
That's correct.
Help others.
Help others.
Guard your family.
Guide your family.
And command respect.
Command respect.
But it's going to be earned. So
Gotta
you
be
have
earned.
to do all the things that you shared with us today.
And mentor all who come in contact.
All of them. Whew, what a great conversation. What a great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for being guests
Thank
and
you.
sharing your time
Thank you.
with us. We take it not lightly. And certainly as a mentor, I am eternally grateful for that meeting in Freeport in 2013 with your friend,
Right.
Dr. Bowser, my mentor. And we wish you, and really know, more than a wish, we pray continued blessing on you, spirit, soul, body, your family, all that pertains to you, your legacy, be great, your impact and influence live many, many, many years beyond.
Thank you.
And you have been just a blessing to so many. And your family, but those who are mentored by you, those who call you friend, and to your nation, you have represented well.
Thank you.
And I believe, I'm confident, I know you will hear the words, well done.
Thank
Good
you.
and faithful servants. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Exceptional Living, we are here in Nassau, Bahamas. We just heard from the incomparable Dr. Richard Demeritte, and we thank you for watching. Remember that you were created to live an exceptional life, unique by design. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And until the next time, remember, God bless.